Hey guys, it's Barlock here, and man, did we ever get a treasure trove of new information about Pokemon Sword and Shield from the recent Nintendo Direct. In fact, there are so many new details that I found that I'm going to have to cover them over the course of 3 separate videos. Today's video is going to be focused on details about Sword and Shield, which were confirmed by the Nintendo Direct, and by the Pokemon website, some of which you may not have noticed at first. I'm going to try to keep this video on things which are confirmed, or at the very least mostly confirmed, as my next 2 videos are going to be more speculative in nature, and I don't want to cover any information that I would be putting in those videos here. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss those videos when they come out, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. So, first of all, let's focus on the biggest and most exciting new feature in the game, the Wild Area. According to the website, there is a vast expanse of land in the Galar region, which is known as the Wild Area. The Wild Area is full of nature as far as the eye can see, and it connects several different towns and cities. You'll find a greater variety of Pokemon living here than anywhere else in the Galar region. The Pokemon you'll run into will change depending on things like the weather or location, so you might see something new each time you visit. So if you look at the map of Galar, you can see that the Wild Area is a huge section in the middle of the map, just beyond the first couple towns, so you'll likely get access to it early in the game after you beat your first or second gym. Possibly the second gym, because there is a city that has a big gate opening up to it, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you take a train to the second city and then have to beat the gym there and then get access to the Wild Area. But that isn't really confirmed yet, of course. So from the screenshots we've seen, it appears that the player can press Y while in the Wild Area to connect to the internet and join up to 3 other players. The website states that some things you can do in the Wild Area, like max raid battles, can become even more fun by connecting with other players. We've already seen co-op in the max raid battles in the trailer, but the website makes it sound like these might be drop-in, drop-out co-op, similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I can't confirm this, of course, but it does sound like it is the case based on the trailer. I don't want to get too much into max raid battles or Dynamax here, though. There's so much to talk about with that feature that I'm going to get a whole video dedicated to it. So be sure to tune in soon for all the details and my speculations on that. The Direct also shows that the player has full control of the camera in the Wild Area as well, which is really cool. Like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon wander through the world in this area, and the types of Pokemon obtainable changes along with a dynamic weather system. This basically turns the Wild Area into an open-world Pokemon game that many players were hoping for when the games were announced for Switch. It's definitely the biggest change that the series has ever seen, and I'm really excited to try it out. Also, one last thing about the Wild Areas section of the Direct. Seriously, has Steelix always floated? Is that like a magnetism thing? I mean, that thing weighs a literal ton. So, like, how is it floating? I mean, I checked on the Bulbapedia, I was looking at all the Pokedex entries about it, and I've been thinking back to when I've seen it in all the games. Like, I use a Steelix. This thing never has floated in game before, as far as I'm aware, so is the explanation is that it just is using Magnet Rise or something? I need to know. But anyway, so from what I've seen, the Wild Area seems like a special location which can connect you to a couple of the big cities and smaller towns. But it can be easy to forget that there are still more traditional routes as well, with fixed cameras and random encounters. There's an image on the Pokemon website which seems to confirm that wandering Pokemon appear not just in the Wild Area though, but also on traditional routes as well. This is quite exciting to me, as I was hoping that this feature would make its way to Sword and Shield, because it was one of the cooler innovations from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, in my opinion. However, there are also hidden Pokemon which appear as an exclamation mark in the grass, which act as random encounters, and the player will have to sneak up on them to find them. The first trailer also showed regular random battles, so presumably they're still in the game as well, but after this trailer, I think we're going to need some more information on that. Speaking of battles, we get a few looks at the new battle UI in the trailer and on the website. With all the excitement of the move onto the Switch, it's easy to forget that the battle system would have to be changed quite a bit since there's now only one screen to work with. It looks like they're going with a very similar UI to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which does make sense, but it's good to have that confirmed, especially since battling was so de-emphasized in the Let's Go games. There were also several new Pokemon shown off in the trailer, all of which just look awesome. I especially like Corviknight, but Wooloo is also very adorable. The art direction for Galar in general has just been fantastic so far, and if they can keep up this level of quality, this could easily be the best generation since Diamond and Pearl, in my opinion. The website also has further information on each of these Pokemon, along with their abilities and typings. So first of all, the starters all have the normal abilities for their types, that is Blaze for Scorbunny, Overgrow for Grookey, and Torrent for Sobble, which is somewhat disappointing but not unexpected. However, the other new Pokemon have more interesting abilities. First off is Wooloo, which is a normal type, and it has the Fluffy and Runaway abilities. Runaway is fairly useless in battle, but it does fit with the characteristics of the Pokemon that we've seen so far. But Fluffy is actually a great ability for a defensive Pokemon, so hopefully it can make Wooloo and any evolutions that it might have into very tanky Pokemon. On a similar note, Glossifleur and Eldegoss have two also very tanky abilities, or Stolly at the very least, one of which is totally brand new. So its two abilities are Cotton Down and Regenerator. So the new ability, Cotton Down, lowers the speed stat of other Pokemon that come into contact with it. It's a fairly interesting ability, but not particularly exciting, as it's basically the same as other abilities that we've seen in the games so far, such as Gooey or Tangling Hair. So Gossifleur and Eldegoss are both the grass type, not fairy. I was wondering at first if they might be fairy types, like Florges or Cottony. Dreadnought also has the Strong Jaw and Shell Armor abilities, both of which are very sensible for a big snapping turtle. And similarly, Corviknight's abilities are Pressure and Unnerve, which makes sense for a big, intimidating Raven. Dreadnought is confirmed to be a Water and Rock type Pokemon, and Corviknight was confirmed to be a Steel and Flying type, like Skarmory. So this shouldn't be too surprising, but the trailer seems to confirm that HMs are gone for good, and I can't say I'll ever miss them. In the trailer, we're told that Corviknights will fly the player to cities they've already visited, providing a similar functionality to fly. In addition, we see the player character riding a bike on the water, similar to Surf. According to the website, the new Rotom phone can be attached to your bike, and it somehow allows the bike to ride across the water, and can also make the bike move faster. It seems likely that the Rotom phone will provide other functionalities we haven't seen yet as well, but obviously we haven't got any details on those, so I don't want to speculate too hard on what that might be. Removing HMs was one of the best updates in Sun and Moon, so it's nice to see that carry on here. One other feature that the trailer confirms is returning is player customization. In the Max Raid section of the trailer, we can see multiple player characters all wearing different outfits from what we've seen on the default characters. So hopefully there are more outfits that are interesting available than there were in Sun and Moon. Finally, let's move on to the new characters that we were introduced to in the Direct. Most prominent is Leon, the champion of the Galar region. The trailer plays him up as being a really cool and well-loved person. The website says that he has never lost an official battle, which is an interesting detail. Galar televises its gym battles and championship battles, so presumably that's what they mean by official, but it does suggest that he has lost unofficially before. It makes me wonder who he might have lost to. Perhaps it's the villainous team? I mean, I have seen some speculation that he might be secretly this game's villain, but I'm not really convinced that that's the case, so we're going to have to wait and see. Leon's brother and our main rival in the game is the terribly named Hop. My first impression of him is that he seems like a pretty cool guy and has the potential to be a good rival, but that name is just really dumb. Interestingly enough, the website says that he is actually one of our rivals, which suggests that there are other characters who are going to be rivals as well. I do think that the other rivals it's referring to, though, might actually mean Leon, since he does seem to have a big role in the story. But again, we're going to have to wait and see when the game comes out to find out. Next is the professor for this region, Professor Magnolia, and her granddaughter Sonia. Magnolia is studying Dynamax, and interestingly enough, the website states that she has some sort of mysterious research task for Sonia. I'm really curious what this task could be. It makes me think, though, how crazy would it be if the Pokemon professor ended up being the villain in the game? There's basically no way that this is actually going to happen, but it could be a fun callback to the theory that Professor Oak is secretly the evil mastermind behind all the evil teams in the Pokemon universe. And finally, we have Milo, the grass gym leader. The website states that he specializes in endurance matches, which seems to be a sensible move since we see him using Eldegoss, and based on the abilities we've seen for it, it would make a lot of sense if Eldegoss is a stally Pokemon that's used in Dynamax battles to make it harder to defeat. Milo's design is just so weird to me though. He looks like he's a kid's head on top of a bodybuilder's body, as if he were 3 children in a trench coat. Also in the trailer, there seems to be a kid in the crowd at Milo's gym who's wearing a shirt with some sort of squirrel on it. I've seen people saying that this is a hint about a new Pokemon, but I'm not really convinced about it. It seems like way too obvious a hint for this to actually be the case, especially considering how much work Game Freak has gone into hiding anything from leaking out in this trailer. To have some kid in the foreground showing off a new Pokemon so obviously just seems way too unsubtle to me. I mean, maybe it's a hint about a Galar form of Pachirisu, but I'm not married to any particular interpretation here. I personally would put money on it not being anything. So there's all the new information which I found interesting in the recent Direct. I've still got plenty of thoughts about Sword and Shield though, so be sure to subscribe to see those. Also, if you found this video interesting, please consider hitting the like button, as I am trying to grow this channel, so any support you can give is much appreciated. Also, if you weren't aware, if you have a Nintendo Online subscription, you can buy a pair of online vouchers which can be used on Pokemon Sword and Shield, and will save you $20 off of the total price of both games. I'm hoping to secure a copy of the dual pack that was announced during the Direct, but if I can't get that, then this voucher is a great way to get a hold of both games at a nice discount. So be sure to check that out if you're planning on getting these games. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Barlock, signing off.